Hello, pop stars, and welcome to this week's episode of the Popcorn Wind Down. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
This week's episode is sponsored by ID Spa and Retreat. Feel like you're having an identity crisis, lost, or just need to relax and reconnect? Then ID Spa is the place for you. Check them out with their mystical treatments. Allow them to transport you to another world, if only for an afternoon. Once you leave the ID spa, you will feel even more relaxed and rejuvenated than ever before. And give them the discount code Wong sent me for a very special treat. Timmy, do you go to spas?
I've been to spas. They're too expensive for me. I don't make enough to be going to a spa on a regular. But if I could, I would go all the time. Like I've done an is it exfoliation?
Mm-hmm.
I've done an exfoliation, a body one, full body exfoliation. Oh my God. It was like an out of body experience. Like
Yeah,
my body was smooth like a baby's bottom.
yeah. I owe my. This is how bad it is. I owe my mom a spa day from pre 2020. Um, yeah,
Gotta get up on
2020.
that.
I know 2020 was supposed to be the year that we had gone to a spa, one of those shishi ones, shishi fufu ones, and she loved it. And so for her birthday present, Mother's Day present, she wanted to go again, and I set it up for 2020. And then the world just hadn't been quite right since. So I think since we figured out a way to live with this shit now. I think I'm going to try again this upcoming year, possibly Valentine's Day or Mother's Day, 2023. But I love spa treatments. I love going to the spa. I love the massages. So just with the year that has for the last few years, I think I need to go get it just worked out. But cool. All right. So this week we return to the MCU with the latest series, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, starring Tatiana Maslany as Jennifer Walters, hotshot deputy district attorney and the cousin of the one, the only Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk. And while on the trip with her favorite cousin, Jen and Bruce get into an accident, causing her to be exposed to the Hulk's radioactive blood, making her Hulk out herself. From there on, Jen learns it's never easy being green. Hey, wasn't that Kermit? Anyway, Terry. What did you think of She-Hulk Attorney at Law? Was it a Hulk smash or a Hulk crash?
Okay, we're going to get into the details of it, but I'm going to say that I was actually very much entertained. I was enjoying She-Hulk all the way up until the last episode. And then it just completely went off a cliff. But up until then, it was an entertaining show. I was definitely enjoying it more than I thought I was going to. What about you?
Um, I I agree. I loved it so much more than I thought it would be, which I'm not surprised. And the only reason I'm not surprised is because I'm a huge Tatiana Maslany fan. Orphan Black, for those of you who don't know who I'm talking about, amazing show. Did you ever watch Orphan Black?
Of course I did.
Okay. Well, sometimes I got to check. Sometimes I think and now that I've talked about it, I remember us having this conversation. I think that may have been where we kind of started bonding, but I was like, I couldn't remember. And I know Orphan Black is just a phenomenal show. And she's an amazing actress. And she would be more of an indie TV movie actress. She doesn't do a lot of just mainstream stuff. So when I heard she was coming to the MCU, I was like, oh, okay. She wants that Marvel money. Everybody wants that Marvel money. But I also knew that it was going to be something that had to be interesting, and be a little bit offbeat, maybe. Um, it had to be something really interesting to pull her into it. Um, and I was right. I agree with you. I loved it so much more than I thought I would. And I thought it was one of those shows that was perfectly cast. Like I loved the actress who played her best friend. I thought she was great. Um, and I loved Renee Elise Goldsberry. Love her. that was a surprise. I didn't know she was in it until she showed up, and I'm glad that she wasn't a one and done character. Um, I loved how they started, and from how they started to where they ended up. I thought it was really really cool, and I love the guy who played Pug. The lawyer and friend at her new office, Josh Shigora. I love him in just about everything he's in. So I really liked the casting of this. I thought it was really good. Um, what did you think about it being the MCU's first like full fledged comedy?
I'm sorry, what?
You know it's a comedy, right? It's billed as the MCU's first full fledged comedy.
I do now.
I was like, did I catch you off guard? You sat there like, did I hear this bitch correct? Did she really just say this was a comedy?
My bad. Um, I just learned something new. You gotta give me a moment to
Process.
to wrap my mind around that. How about redirect? What do you think about it being the first full fledged comedy for a Marvel series, Eddie? What do you think about it, Eddie?
Um, I got it. It wasn't like a bunch of slapstick, but you got that it wasn't slapstick humor, but you knew there were moments when I really did laugh out loud, and from the standpoint of the show didn't take itself too seriously. Like it was over the top in a lot of things, but I like that it didn't take itself too seriously. I like the part where she actually talked to the camera and knew it was a TV show. That was funny. One of the episodes toward the end where they went and did an homage or a true throwback to the original Incredible Hulk series of the 70s. I thought that was really ingenious. So there are bits about it that I really loved. What about you? Okay, so have you processed?
So it's like a dry comedy, right?
Yeah, it's more of that adult humor, sarcastic. It wasn't like a Three's Company type show, like a sitcom, but it had more of the comedic flair to it. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Okay.
Um, I didn't take it as a comedy, so I'm just gonna put that out there. If you haven't already gotten that from my reaction the first time. Um, there were some cute moments that I could see being funny. Um, I liked. I'm gonna say first. I agree with you. Tatiana Maslany is like one of like just an absolutely phenomenal actress. She's one of the best indie actresses. Because one thing is she's never truly wanted to go mainstream, so she's never gone mainstream. Although she can do it because she just has the acting chops for it. Um, so I was just really excited the fact that she got cast in this. Like she's
Hmm.
the one that brought me to She-Hulk because I just love her so much. Um, it was good. I mean, yeah, you know what? I'm thinking about it now and okay. Like when she was with the Abomination and like is it Tim Roth? Is that
Hmm.
his name? And Tim Roth and her and Tim Roth and oh my, you know what? Now you got me thinking of the comedy because you got me there because when they were doing the circle and porcupine.
Porcupine.
How long you been in that costume, baby?
Oh
Like
God.
oh,
They're like, no, put it on the smell. The smell.
the smell. And then the vampire and the man bull. You know what? Yes. Definitely some funny definitely some funny moments, especially with the share circle. And Abomination being the leader of the share circle with his 7 soulmates.
Yes.
So yeah, I could definitely see the cute moments. And by cute, I mean the moments that I found to be like funny, but in a dry humor kind of way. So I can definitely see where the comedy comes in now that I'm thinking about it. Like I was just like, oh, okay. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, okay, that was the comedy sections. Okay, cool. Got you. I'm on page now.
um, yeah, I thought they did a good job. And since you brought it up, that was probably one of my favorite episodes just because it was like funny. With Porcupine, the sheer circle, how she was walking around there trying to find a signal that whole time. And every time she would go somewhere, you had it pop up, no signal, no signal, no signal, still no signal.
Oop, excuse me.
Oh, bless you. Did you sneeze?
Yes.
Oh, bless you. I was like, um, and so and then when they finally get Porcupine to take off the first mask, and they're like, oh God, no, like how long has that thing been on? You stink. And so then, he was like, can you wait to take off the rest until we can arrange for dry cleaning
Yeah.
and a different type of bath? So I was just like, yeah, but that was one of my favorite episodes just because it was so funny, but. I did not mention Tim Roth. I did love the episodes that he was in. I love Tim Roth. He of course is just a great actor, and he was great as the reformed Abomination. Um, but yeah, I really liked how um, going back to Tatiana Maslany. One of my favorite things was how she played the dual roles, the duality of Jennifer versus She-Hulk, and how she just thought, how it kind of got flipped upside down, where she thought that she could just live this normal life. And I think part of her knew that if she wouldn't be able to, and that's why she was so reluctant about being the She-Hulk, about transforming in the first place. She was so adamant that she wasn't going to be a superhero, that wasn't going to be her life. When she came back to town originally, after she had the retreat with Bruce, and they talked about it. And kudos to the MCU for finally getting the CGI right on the Hulk. I think you did an amazing job. This is probably one of the best versions of the Hulk that y'all have had after what, 10 years?
It took them a minute. It took them a minute. A lot of money. A lot
Yeah,
of
of
money.
money. But they finally got it right. So I kudos to you, and I'm glad that they found a way to integrate the Hulk and Bruce because it was getting old. If you go back to the 70s version where they got the inspiration from in the comics of them just constantly being at war, to this modern version, I'm glad that they were able to integrate those personalities. So you did much, much better. And I think the work that they put in, um, it made it easier for them to do the She-Hulk character. But I love the identity crisis aspect of it, especially one of the things about the sheer circle is, it kind of brought back to where she was felt tugged in two different directions, where she even had to go to work, almost cosplaying She-Hulk. It's like they didn't want her at work as herself, but then when she went in the court, or when she went into certain places, even in even when doing her job, she couldn't go in as She-Hulk, the lawyer she was supposed to be. She had to transform back into Jennifer Walter. So I think they did a good job throughout the season of showing just that internal struggle and that battle. And then when she met that really great guy.
Oh,
Um,
I just want to go into that show and like shove him, like just stab him in the dick.
yes, like he was a great guy, and or seemingly, and then he he okay, he accepted her as She-Hulk. So I was thinking, oh, if you're going to accept me as She-Hulk, then you're definitely going to accept me as Jen. And it was when she was Jen that she got rejected. And I was just like, you fucking asshole.
Like you didn't know that she was.
Like at this point, the whole world knew who she was, because she was forced to change. Um, and I was just like, oh God, like I felt for her then. Like at that point, I was like, oh, and I loved, and I guess that's what kind of got her and Elise Goldsberry, her character, for them to kind of be friends. She goes, I don't know of any other lawyer who would have humiliated themselves like that. And I was like, so it was just those moments where I think she did a good job of showing the human side of Jen, and even She-Hulk. And so I was kind of glad that they didn't have to go through that whole, because we know the struggles of being a Hulk. So I'm glad that Bruce had already gone through that, so we didn't have to see her go through those whole physical struggles. For her is a little bit different. What do you think?
I think she just chose not to go through those struggles, but I also think the world didn't put her through them, because part of the thing with Bruce was that the world had never had a Hulk before. So yeah, so I would agree on he went through all of it, not only his eternal, internal struggles within himself over who was going to be like, in charge and everything like that. But I also think that the world also saw him differently because they didn't know how to respond to that. And Jennifer had it easier because he went through all of it with society. So by the time she comes out as She-Hulk, society is like, oh, okay, so there's a female one too. Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool, cool, cool. Like, we
and the,
good.
and then you have the Avengers and all of that. So the world is a little bit more superhero friendly by the time she gets around
Yeah.
to it. But so I love that. Okay, she's the same, but she still has different issues and different struggles. Speaking of Bruce, I love their relationship. I thought the chemistry between Tatiana Maslany and Mark Ruffalo, whether they were Bruce and Jen or Hulk and She-Hulk, I thought it was incredible. I thought they played very, very well off of each other. What about you?
Oh yeah.
Like, I could understand, like in real life, you could understand how they would be each other's favorite cousins, especially in that crazy ass family. Her family was batshit. Like,
Her family was like trailer trash, but they owned a house.
next door neighbors, anyone?
I didn't say it, Eddie. I did not say
Yeah, yeah, I could tell y'all stories about my neighbors. But anyway, different show for a different day. But yeah,
it.
that's now you understand what I mean, right?
Yes, if that's what you talking about, yes, because that's what I kept thinking about with her cousin and her mom and her dad, and like I was just like, oh my god, like they're the perfect like trailer trash family who just happened to live in a house.
Yeah, so it was, yeah. So in that crazy ass family, you could understand how they were like best of cousins and best friends. And I love their nicknames for each other. And I love that moment where they got into it and they just start kicking each other's asses. And then after it's all said and done, I love you, big head. I love you too. It was just like,
That's true
okay,
family, though. That's true
yeah.
family.
Like they worked out all their aggression. They took all their anger and aggression out on each other, and it's like, all right, we good. Um, and I love that part, the banner back and forth about Captain America and whether or not he was a virgin, and when he lost his virginity, that shit was funny. That was hilarious.
Obviously, Captain America was a virgin before he was frozen in the ice. Okay, I'm just saying.
But he lost his virginity to wait, when was he was frozen? So
Remember
you said, but he lost his virginity to someone in the USO tour in 1943.
who said that?
Bruce.
Yeah, the USO tour once he was Captain America.
Oh, but he was Captain America after he was frozen in ice.
Wait, so you
Before
saying
he
that
was
he slept
frozen
with
in ice.
somebody?
Huh?
I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I just don't see it. Maybe the comic books is different, but just from the movies, I feel that he was a virgin when he was frozen.
Well, I think he went through this phase of after Peggy. Because it was kind of made clear that him and Peggy never hit it, did they?
No.
In the 40s, right?
Yeah, but he was in love with her though. So I just didn't see him, the good guy that he is, sleeping with another woman just to get his rocks off while waiting around for Peggy to finally like, step up and say that she really likes him. Like I felt like he was waiting for her the whole entire time. So I just didn't see him sleeping with anybody while he was, Captain America in World War II.
I think during the USO tour, may have been a groupie that came on to him that he really felt this connection with, and.
Ain't no
But
connection. His dick got hard. That's the difference.
um, okay. So, what were did you have any other favorite characters besides She-Hulk?
Well, I love Mallory. Um,
Her best friend.
no, the lawyer, Rick,
Oh,
Renee
Nellie
Elise
Goldsberry.
Goldsberry.
Her best friend was Nikki. Y'all
Yeah.
know I'm horrible with names.
Well,
Yes.
I love Nikki too. Like I loved Nikki. So there are a couple characters that I love. Let me go down. So I loved Nikki,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved Mallory. I loved Pug. Oh, he was adorable. Like if
Pug
only
is so
Nikki
sexy.
wasn't like a lesbian, I feel like him and Nikki would have definitely hooked up. Because Nikki's a lesbian, right?
Did I miss something? Is Nikki a lesbian?
I swore she. Wait. I'm not watching this again. So okay, whatever. I feel like there was a line, and then when she said the line that kind of indicated that she was into girls, I was just like, oh, okay, so she's a lesbian, and then it just like they just went through it. So I just was just like, oh, okay, cool. But maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong. Okay, maybe
But if
I could
she
be wrong.
isn't, but if she is not, then yes, I agree. Her and Pug would be so cute together.
Yeah. I love the Abomination. I just
Yeah.
love I loved how zen he was. He was so zen. I loved it.
And he's like, "Yo, Jen, look, I do it for the money. I take a few speaking gigs to support. Like, don't be
Yeah.
mad. Like, I'm not doing."
He's like telling her like, I don't believe none of this. I don't believe none of this. I'm just doing this for the money. I loved Luke Jacobson, the fashionista.
Designer was hilarious.
Yes,
He was
loved
giving like
him.
everything,
He
everything.
was amazing, absolutely amazing. And then for the first time, I feel, although I like the character, I like the TV show. I've never been necessarily a true fan of the character, but I think I see Daredevil in a new light. I thought Daredevil and She-Hulk did have amazing chemistry. I like the vibe that they gave off, although like it's doomed because you literally live across the country from each other. But I like the vibe. Like I like who Daredevil was in this show. And maybe it could be that it's been so long since Daredevil was on Netflix that I kind of forgot like the vibe that he had in his own show. But I like this Daredevil, and I'm definitely excited to see where Daredevil is going to go from here.
I love the Daredevil show on Netflix. I thought it did a really good job. The Netflix shows, with the exception of what was it, Iron Fist.
Iron
Um,
Fist. Trash.
although I think yeah, with the exception of Iron Fist, although I didn't hate it as much as everyone else did, but with the exception of Iron Fist, I think the Netflix shows did a great job of kicking off the Marvel TV universe. I really do. Um, and I wouldn't mind seeing some of them get rebooted uh, on Disney Plus. We'll see, but I agree with you. I am excited to see excuse me, I can't talk. Where Daredevil goes, based on his appearance in this and in Spider-Man: No Way Home. So I am definitely looking forward to it, and it's going to be Marvel TV shows are what 6 to 10 episodes, just depending. Daredevil is going to be like 1920, so they already know it's going to be an extended season on that. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I agree with you. I loved all the characters that you loved, and even the bad guys. Like the one I wasn't really too crazy about, and they I guess because I was expecting from her, the way they hyped up her character. I can't say her name. Is it Pramila? You know who I'm talking about? Um,
Titania?
I don't. Yeah, Tatiana, Titania, her.
Titania.
Uh, yeah, I was expecting more from her. I wasn't. And I guess maybe it just comes with my lack of familiarity with the She-Hulk series as a whole, the comic books and her backstory and her history, the She-Hulk canon. I was expecting more from Titania and Jamil, than for her just to be some uh, supersized mean girl. So maybe as the series goes on, we can actually get into Endgame and make her serve more of a character. Because I know Titania is a big it's supposed to be a big thorn in her side, so we'll see what it is. But as far as introductions go, it was okay. You get that they're nemesis, but um, I was expecting more of a big bad vibe than an annoying mean girl vibe from her, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So, do you have any favorite episodes?
Well, besides the one that we already talked about with the share circle, I think it was called The Retreat.
Yeah.
I think was the name of that episode. Um, let me see. Now I'm like looking to see like what was the name of the episode so I can remember. Well, I like Ribbit and Rip It.
Yes, that was hilarious.
So I like that one. It introduced Daredevil into the series, which was fantastic. So definitely like those two. But I think an episode that um made me definitely see the difference between She-Hulk and um Jennifer Walters was Just Jen. So it was the episode before the retreat when she meets the nice guy at the wedding, and she arrives as She-Hulk because she wants to arrive confident, she got this. And then her friend comes and it's just like, you can't take attention away from me. And then she basically treats her like she is the help the whole entire episode, and she just kind of like takes it. And I was just like, yeah, I can definitely see the difference, because you can seriously kick their ass, but you're letting them put you on iron duty. Like, I've been looking at them like, no, do I look like the type?
Oh, you know me, bitch. Please, you better go iron your own
Yeah,
shit. I don't
I'd
even
be
have
like,
my own
you
clothes.
better go
Why am I
find
going?
your groomsman and iron
Thank
his
you.
shirt for him, because my groomsman is a dog.
And you know, I love dogs. I do. And if I knew ahead of time, like some people do have their pet babies as part of their weddings and all of that. And I get it. But you hype my groomsmen up as something, as someone, like a human being, and you tell
Yep.
me that the best you can do, and it wasn't the fact that you have, because I get it. Like I said, people love their dogs. You know how I felt about my babies. Like those were my kids, right? But I'm not. There's no way in hell I'm going to invite you to my wedding and then tell you at the last minute that you're walking my dog down the aisle and make it seem like it's some fucking insult. Like, like basically you're on dog duty today. You're my dog walker, like literally. Oh, I would have flipped the fuck out.
I ain't doing
Flipped
shit for you.
the fuck
And I'm
out.
going back to be the Hulk for your wedding.
Like, flipped the fuck out. Um, yeah, so I really, really, really love. I like those episodes too. The wedding, since we're on it, I actually liked the B story better than the A story, which was the wedding. But the B story was hilarious. The dude who could not deal with conflict, so he was always killing himself to avoid it.
Oh yeah.
What was it? Mr. Infinity, Mr. Immortal.
Immortal. Mr. Immortal.
That shit was hilarious. Like when they were in the office when he first goes to his meeting, when he's first meeting them, and they're figuring out just how horrible he really is. Like, and he was one of those people who just doesn't like conflict, so he went to these extremes to avoid it. And in doing so, it made him an asshole. Like and you could tell, not to make excuses for him because he did some shitty shit, but you could tell because when they start arguing back and forth and they were just telling him how wrong he was, and he was just like, but and he jumps out the window.
That's what he did.
And it's not like a third story window. They were like in one of the high rise corporate complexes in LA. So it was really, really high. And he jumps out the window and he lands on a car, and a couple of minutes later he starts to regenerate and just put his, I'm like, oh gosh, really? And then when they had all his former spouses and lovers in the conference room, who he had to settle with because they figured out he would fake his death, um, and all the to get out of these relationships rather than just break up with them, to let them know he got bored. Um, but yeah, that was hilarious. I loved it. I thought that was hilarious. We already talked. Oh, and I like the one with Megan the Stallion. I like, I like Megan, but my favorite parts were when the dude, the chameleon, I guess, I don't know what, the chameleon Asgardian, everybody's like, you really thought you were dating the Megan the Stallion? Yeah, and he was so delusional. He's like, yeah, why wouldn't she want this? And they're like, you think Megan the Stallion drives a Corolla?
Be like,
And
who are you talking about?
yeah, so it that was just funny. Like I love that episode, and the way the chameleon was trying to she would change into the lawyer, and then she would change into the judge to try to get her case dismissed, and he's like, but I've decided I don't want to sue anymore. And then she turned into the lawyer, and then she turned into the judge. Like that was funny. And he was like, and then when they were at the bar talking about him, and he goes, wait a minute, I think you just won me my case. Do you want to testify? Because they were talking just about how horrible and delusional he was. And they were like, okay. And then he tried to get up and not. I also like the mystical one too, the one where magic, because I love Wong, and I love the drunk girl Wongers,
Oh God, no. I
and
feel like that was some of the worst.
and she's like, but Wongers and the Sopranos, and she kept spoiling the episodes of the Sopranos for him.
And he was still talking to her.
It was just like, okay, it was just kind of like, it was kind of like, you know how I always say that fungus is, it just grows on you and it won't go away, and you just kind of resign that, okay, this is it, like she's a part of my life now.
Like, I'm
So
never
but
getting rid of her.
yeah, but that was but I did like it. I got where it was billing itself as a comedy, and it didn't take itself too seriously until you nailed it on the head. What the fuck was that ending? That finale episode was so
Bad.
I was like, I get what you were trying to do. I really do, but it didn't work.
I just look, you were doing so well. You were doing so well. And I understand. Because before she broke the fourth wall and just went on, her walking stick, um, yeah, it was going off the rails. It was going like the whole entire episode I felt like was off the rails. And then she goes and she's like, well, I'm gonna go talk to Kevin. And you find out Kevin is a robot, an AI. And I'm just like, oh God, why do y'all do this? You just like destroyed the whole momentum. Yeah.
Yeah. Up until that point, it was kind of like, okay. And then it just made it anticlimactic. Like, oh well, what do you want him to do? Don't do the whole Hulk thing. Well, then it kind of goes back in the major B story throughout this series, of why they were after her blood. That makes no sense. Why he broke in her house, ghosted her. Like, so we know you still have the blood. What are you gonna do with it? You know. Um, so I get how you don't want to be the typical superhero show, but you are a superhero, so you are going to have to do some superheroing. And I think that was just her maybe coming to terms with the fact that, hey, and I think you learned that with the Rip It and Ribbit episode with Daredevil, that okay, you are going to actually have, there are times when you're going to have to do some superheroing. It's not all going to be in the courtroom, you know. Um, so I just thought the finale was pretty anticlimactic, and I get what you were doing about trying not to take yourself too seriously, but like you said, it ruined the momentum of what I thought was a pretty great season up until the second half of that finale. And I didn't so much mind the off the rails part because, like I said, it was the whole premise was kind of silly, but it was just like, okay. So I was just like, yeah, that was bad. That was not that. The ending was not it.
At all. At all.
Yeah, so like you watch watch the whole season till you get to episode 9, and probably about 15-20 minutes in, you might want to just skip after you get to 9. After you get to the first 20 minutes of episode 9, which is the finale episode, you can just turn it off after that, because yeah, you're like, the fuck. Like, I would have rather for it to have been that cliche superhero ending than that shit that we got. That was really, really anticlimactic and bad. like just so bad. Um, so does it have you looking? The one question it left me with, like we already said, we're curious. It has us more curious about Daredevil. Did it leave you curious or questions about her ultimate place in the MCU? Like, is she really going to become an Avenger? Will we see her in more movies? Is the Hulk going to finally get his own movie? I think that would be cool to have a Hulk She-Hulk movie.
They can't do a Hulk movie, but okay.
Why can't they do a Hulk movie?
They don't own the full rights to it.
Who owns the rights to the Hulk?
They say partly Universal does.
Oh, and Universal don't want to jump on that Sony bandwagon.
I guess not.
Oh, okay. Um. So, well,
Um,
shit.
so I never think I don't think deeply about like the Marvel universe, and the reason why is because the Marvel universe is not a deep thinking entity. Um I am excited to see if she earns a second season. I would definitely watch a second season of She-Hulk. I enjoyed it up until the ending, and I hope that enough people have complained about the crappy ending that they would never do it again. I didn't necessarily have too much of an issue with breaking the fourth wall. That was fine. Her talking to the audience. It was just the ending was just ridiculous to me. It just completely threw me off, and it made me bring my rating of the show down from what it originally would be, just because of how they ended the series. But yeah, but I would definitely watch a second season of She-Hulk just to see exactly where her story goes. And I'm actually excited about the Daredevil series. Let's see, where Daredevil goes, and if maybe She-Hulk shows up every once in a while in Hell's Kitchen. I don't know.
Yeah, she might be going to get her man because that was one thing when she spoke to Kevin, that was one thing she was damn sure like Daredevil, Matt Murdock. I need more Matt Murdock.
So he dropped out of thin air.
Yeah, she's like, do this, Matt Murdock, da 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 da, Matt Murdock. But um, so I was okay with that. I didn't have a problem with breaking the third wall. I really didn't. I love comic. I love shows like that. That lets you know that they're self aware and they're aware enough not to take themselves too seriously. I liked it better than the narrator because at that one point in that one episode where they start to narrate, she goes, "No, no, we're not that type of show. We don't have a narrator." And I was like, okay. So those moments throughout, they were funny, they were cute. Like I said, it all really worked for me up until we got to that moment. That's when it kind of went off the rails for me. And I did so much. But yeah, I do think about the Marvel universe and what's to come and how all the threads are going to connect, and then kind of want to go back and see what other Easter eggs they dropped besides Bruce has a son from when he went off on a spaceship. And I wonder what movie that's going to be answered in. I wonder if it's going to be answered in the one with Nick Fury. But they were like, wait for the movie. So there's a movie coming where that thread will be picked up and the mystery of his son will be answered and how he ended up with a son. So, or the Hulk has a son, rather. Um, that was kind of interesting to me, and I do hope it gets a second season, and I am curious to see where she fits into. Not only if she'll show up in Daredevil because I thought they had really good chemistry, but also if where she fits into the larger MCU as a whole. So, how would you rate the first season um, of this um, new series, The She-Hulk?
I'm gonna give it 3 popcorns. I enjoyed it, but once again, I had to bring it down because of that ending episode.
What would you
But
have given it without the ending? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, huh?
What would you have given it without the ending? I'm curious.
Probably a 3.5.
Okay. Dang, that tanked it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but the ending, it just threw me off. I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like I literally said that. But other than that, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good show. I actually enjoyed it more than Miss Marvel. So it's hilarious that I didn't realize it was a comedy, but but no, but I did enjoy it more than Miss Marvel. I'll be honest, I'm more excited to see where She-Hulk goes than I am with the Miss Marvel series, even though I'll watch both of the second seasons, but I'd more be interested in exactly what comes next for She-Hulk. So I'm all for a second season, and just hopefully, they can just fix some of the mistakes that they made for the first season. What about you, Eddie?
I agree. Don't give us another bullshit ending because that you really, like I said, I'd rather have done the cliche comic book superhero movie kick ass ending than that was crazy. But yeah, I enjoyed it a little bit more. I gave it a 3 point. I gave it 3.5 stars. Um, like I said, I love Tatiana Maslany. I was really impressed. I'm so glad they fixed the CGI on the Hulks. Um, and I look forward to it. And I yeah, it was just it was done so much better than I thought it would be. And I like I said, I wasn't ever really a big. I never gave much thought to She-Hulk, the comics, the Hulk. Like I said, unfortunately, and I just figured this out. I was today years old when I finally figured out why they could not or would not do an actual standalone Hulk movie. But so that makes a little bit more sense. Um, but the times that we're seeing this Hulk in the new light just makes me have more interest in the Hulk and his character and the stories that he has to tell. You kind of felt bad for him the way he was still mourning Tony. Where it had that BB plus TS in the with the little heart carved into the bar. That was so cute. And Tony built him during the blip. No, Tony was away in the blip. Tony had built him that retreat, that place for him to go in Mexico and Hulk out. So that was just really cute. But yeah, I hope to see more of the series, and I hope to see more of her throughout the different parts of the MCU. All right. Well, that does it for this week's episode of I'm sorry, Howard. Do you have anything else to add, Tim? Anything?
No,
Okay,
no.
cool. That does it for this week's episode of the Popcorn Wine Down and Pop Shorts. Pop Shorts. I cannot talk today. Blah. Pop stars, please be sure to listen, like, follow, and comment anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also keep up to date on the latest in entertainment and pop culture news, as well as other amazing kernels of pop culture goodness at thepopcornwinedown.com. That's it. That's the plug.
Pop,
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 pop, pop,
pop.
pop.
I'm poking out on my pops. Pop, pop, pop. That was a Hulk pop. No, I do not do drugs. Drugs kill. I'm sure that's probably a common question.
Eddie's a special one, y'all.
Could you imagine me on drugs? Never mind. Okay. Thank you. Thank you as always, and be sure to join us next week when we discuss. Ooh, I'm so excited. The reunited and it feel. Oh, my
It
bad.
was so
Ticket
good.
good. Ticket to Paradise, featuring the one, the only George Clooney. Would he be a silver fox
With his hair, yes.
with his sexy ass? No disrespect to him all. She could sue me into oblivion, but that's okay. Um, George Clooney and the original, the OG Pretty Woman, Julia Roberts in Ticket to Paradise. I'm excited about that one. What about you?
Definitely, definitely.
All right. Well, until next time, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Peace.